Imagine this, it's 1955. The table set with patterned china and polished silverware, the turkey's resting, and from the kitchen drifts the scent of something creamy, savory, and oh so comforting. The green bean casserole. It was the unsung hero of mid-century Thanksgiving dinners. Humble, yet absolutely essential. And while the original leaped on a can or two, today we're bringing it back the way it should taste, from scratch with that classic 1950s flavor, fully revived.
Welcome to Apaulo Diner.
Hello my friends and fellow Apollonians, welcome back to Apaulo Diner. I'm your host Apaulo Jupiter, and today we're bringing a true mid-century Thanksgiving favorite back to life, the green bean casserole. It was more than just a side dish, it was comfort in a casserole, the kind of recipe that brought families together and always had people coming back for seconds. And somewhere in the late 1950s, it found its way from Campbell's test kitchen into nearly every American home. A little modern miracle, baked in a single dish. And today, we're making it from scratch. Let's get started! Before the creamy magic happens, we'll start with fresh green beans. First, we start by bringing a big pot of water to a lively boil. We salt the water generously. This isn't the time to be shy. Then in go our green beans. Around 400 grams or 14 ounces, trimmed and cut into bite-sized pieces. You can use fresh beans or even frozen ones, were perfectly fine if you want a bit more convenience. We let them simmer for about 5 minutes, just until they're tender, crisp and glowing with that perfect vintage green. Did you know? This dish actually started in a test kitchen at Campbell's back in 1955, part of a clever little campaign to get more cream of mushroom soup into American homes. Dorcas Riley, the woman behind it, probably had no idea she was creating a dish that would end up on tens of millions of Thanksgiving tables for decades to come. Now we drain them well and let the steam rise off like a sigh. We don't want any extra moisture sneaking into our sauce later. And there they are, fresh, vibrant and with just the right amount of bite. Our green beans are ready for the next chapter. We set them aside for now. They'll make their grand entrance later, draped in sauce and glory. Speaking of which, time for the best part. Let's build that creamy, savory mushroom base. To start the base, we place a large skillet over medium heat and melt about 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of unsalted butter. Once it's gently foaming and smelling like something's about to go very right, we add 1 small finely chopped onion. We sauteed it for a few minutes, just until it turns soft and a little glossy, like it's getting ready for a dinner party. Now go in the mushrooms, about 7 ounces or 200 grams of thinly sliced brown mushrooms or champignons. We give them a good pinch of salt to help them draw out their moisture. Then let them cook for about 6 to 8 minutes. At first they'll look crowded and a bit unsure of themselves, but don't worry, they'll settle down, shrink up and turn beautifully golden. Once they're looking golden and fragrant, we stir in 1 small minced garlic clove. Just 30 seconds to let it bloom. Now comes the key. We sprinkle over 1 tablespoon or about 10 grams of all-purpose flour and stir it in. This is the moment where we promise the sauce it's going somewhere. We give it a minute or so to cook off that raw flour taste and let everything come together into something smooth and promising. Now we slowly pour in the liquids. About 2/3 of a cup or 150 milliliters of milk and 2/3 of a cup or 150 milliliters of heavy cream. We add them bit by bit, stirring as we go, so the flour can do its job and thicken everything into a silky, creamy sauce. Once it starts to bubble gently and coat the back of a spoon, we know we're on the right track. Now for that unmistakable mid-century little extra something. We add 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, half a teaspoon of Worcester sauce, and half a teaspoon of mustard. Just a little squeeze of lemon juice brightens the whole thing up. Not enough to notice, just enough to lift. Now let's give it a taste. And adjust with salt and pepper to our liking. What we're after is a rich, savory base with that classic depth, the kind that makes you want to dip a spoon in right now, and honestly, no one would blame you if you did. In the meantime, let's preheat our oven to 175 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that our sauce is rich and ready, it's time to bring our green beans back into the picture. We gently fold them into the sauce until they're evenly coated. No need to rush here, it's like welcoming old friends into a warm room. Everything should be well mixed, but not mashed. We don't want to squash them. It's a casserole, not a wrestling match. Once the beans and sauce are happily united, we transfer the whole thing into a baking dish. About 1.5 liters or 1.5 quarts is perfect for this amount. Now comes the first sprinkle of crispy fried onions. We add about half of them right on top, just enough to give a golden halo while it bakes. These aren't just garnish, they're the crown jewels of the casserole kingdom. You can absolutely use store-bought ones, they usually work great. But if you want to go full vintage diner mode, you can make them from scratch. Thin sliced onions, soaked in buttermilk, tossed in a seasoned flour and starch coating, and fried until golden and outrageously crisp around 170 degrees Celsius or 340 degrees Fahrenheit. Homemade is absolutely worth it, but the full recipe would burst the length of this video, so I'll be making a separate short or full episode soon just for the crispy onions. Now we slide our casserole into the preheated oven. Remember, that was 175 degrees Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit, and bake it for about 20 to 25 minutes, just until it's bubbling gently around the edges and starting to whisper promises of dinner. Once it's almost there, we briefly take it out and add the rest of our crispy onions on top. Because what's a crown without a proper finale? Then it goes in for just 5 more minutes. Until everything's golden crisp and exactly how we remember it from those mid-century tables. Once our timer rings, it's time to take it out and embrace that lovely smell. Heavenly. Now we let it cool just slightly, just enough to stop bubbling, but not long enough to lose that irresistible warmth. You can serve it directly in the casserole for everyone to dig in. We spoon it up while it's still warm, creamy, savory, and with that golden crunch on top. Every bite is exactly what it should be. Tender beans, rich mushroom sauce, and those crispy onions stealing the show like they always do. It's simple, it's nostalgic, and once tasted, it's easy to see why it became a classic. Just amazing. And there we have it, our vintage style green bean casserole brought back to life just the way it deserves. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope this dish brings a little warmth, a little history, and a whole lot of flavor to your table. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more vintage recipes, kitchen classics, and a few tasty surprises coming up. We'll also be taking a closer look at those homemade crispy onions soon, so keep your eyes peeled. And in the meantime, check out this lovely video right here. Wishing you comfort, joy, and plenty of time together, especially during the holidays. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.